Welcome back. You're watching KTN Business Today with me, Abia Gina. And today our Twitter poll question was, we are asking you, have we done enough to secure land as a factor of production? That is our Twitter poll question for today. Have we done enough to secure land as a factor of production? And it will be forming a key area of focus for us in a few minutes from now. I'll be putting this question to the Principal Secretary in charge of lands, as well as we have Commissioner Abdul Kadir Halif from the National Land Commission. But let's set the stage first. A State House summit set up to deliberate on land issues in Kenya avoided debate on the report by the Truth, Justice, Reconciliation Commission on historical land injustices. And as Murimi Mwangi now reports, the Lands Ministry also avoided to disclose the names of individuals who own the largest tracts of land in the country.
Ali Bunu Famau.
For over 3 years now, the Jubilee regime has been grappling with the headache of historical land injustices. A headache which necessitated Monday's State House summit on land. But as soon as the panelists took to their seats, it was clear the forum would leave more questions than answers.
And the criteria for what constitutes a historical land injustice is there. And we are going to apply that criteria. And those of us who think because of the pre-independence treaty, for example, they can escape, you will not escape.
I'm not talking about grabbed in the sense of being illegal about it.
Yeah.
The law itself, as it was, enabled presidents, land commissioners to go and allocate land. So they can say this land was allocated legally, and they have still retained control over that land.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. You better be patient and listen to this topic. It's a long one. It's not as easy as you are putting it.
Your Excellency, I am submitting to you
a detailed report on the country's historical land injustices, which the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission handed to President Uhuru Kenyatta on May 2013, has been gathering dust for 3 years now, yet to be debated in Parliament. At the State House summit, the TJRC report was again not among the priority items for debate.
The Commission found that the willing buyer, willing seller, land tenure approach was grossly abused and is one of the major factors causing disinheritance and landlessness, especially in the coast.
There is a very famous total minister who currently has a title deed to a hospital, to land, public land on which there is a hospital, a AP's camp, a court, a fire station, and we then looked at a prison of, I think, over 600 acres that had been allocated to him. And that's Nicholas Biwott, and I can say that because I think the records are fairly clear.
The ones that we have legally, we have taken back are the ones which are public land, for which people have complained, or there have been reports, TGRC or Ndungu and so on. Those are the ones that we have taken back.
But the Lands Ministry was quick to take stock of what Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kaimenyi said were key milestones in land reforms, including ongoing efforts to digitize all land registries to curb land-related fraud.
And as key stakeholders, you are the people who can tell us whether indeed we are efficient or effective or not.
There are some members of staff who have been at one station for 20 years. And we told the ministry, at least we are happy, about 300, 400 have been moved.
Alafu Haji bin Haji.
Recent efforts by President Uhuru Kenyatta to hand title deeds to coastal squatters has in recent days been criticized by opposition politicians as unsubstantive to resolve the long-standing land disputes. With the land question expected to dominate the 2017 campaigns, the Ministry and the Lands Commission will no doubt be under intense pressure to provide the elusive answers to the land question. Muremi Mwangi, KTN News, at State House in Nairobi.
Thank you very much, Muremi, for that report. And we're now joined by the Principal Secretary in charge of lands, and that is Mariamu Maui, who is the PS for Lands. and also Abdul Kadir Khalif, who is a commissioner with the National Lands Commission. Perhaps, Madam PS, how is it that the ministry did not name the individuals who own land, and yet this summit was premised to actually disclose this?
Well, the summit was premised to discuss a number of issues on land.
Yeah.
And indeed, when we were asked who are the largest owners, it does not seem believable, but that is factual. Because there is a conservancy, for instance, that is 92,000 acres, and Mombasa is 72,000 acres. And that's not even one of the largest ones. And when we say that we are still working on our ongoing digitization,
All right.
we have 8 of the 13 registries, and these are the ones that hold the largest parcels of land. So it is true that we will be able to give a completely factual account when we conclude that exercise.
All right. Yeah. We'll be hoping to get some answers from you in the coming days. But just to bring in Mr. Kadir, looking at the mandate of the National Land Commission, one of the key areas is to ensure land is actually made of proper use when it comes to land as a factor of production. Do you feel as a country we've been able to achieve this?
Thank you for having me. As far as getting there or completely having reached where we want to go, maybe not. But we are definitely on our way there. And we are working very closely with the ministry and all other stakeholders to make sure that we get there. Land, as you said, is a factor of production, and this is what the country needs, not only to use it as food security, but also other investments like wind energy, or you have been talking about power here, solar energy, and everything happens on land. So we have not secured it properly because we are trying to do that with the new constitution, the new land acts that have just come. And it takes time for all these things to settle. Well, land mismanagement has gone on for a very long time, more than 100 years. Yeah. And it is not going to be resolved in 3 years. Okay. But we are getting there.
It's a question of time.
Yet. Yes,
right.
Just a question of time.
And Madam Mariamu, of course, we've also seen a lot of initiatives coming through from your ministry when it comes to trying to level the playing field and make land as a factor of production. Do you feel we've achieved what you had envisioned? And where are we in this journey, really?
Okay. Well, the approach in the ministry is to address 3 main issues. The first issue is on tenure security and tenure equity. And then the second one is in automation and business reengineering of our processes. And then the third, as the Commissioner here has talked about the legislation, and the legislation that is going to unlock a lot of potential. Okay. Now, in the area of tenure security, you have to have a piece of land where it is identifiable by new technology, GIS, on a specific piece of land, and spatial planning and issues to do with zoning as well. Okay. And when we're talking about digitization and automation, in automation, I'll say one thing. I was a business person myself. Yeah. Okay, and I was an architect also for a very long time. And I'm motivated a little bit by personal experience. I used to have to do 6 searches for my clients. My 6 searches were land rent, land rates, company registry if it was a corporate, the courts, the Ndungu land report, as you have mentioned, and the land rents tribunal. It costed me a lot of money to be able to do these 6 searches, just to be able to check if the land that my client has given me was a correct document. So I have that experience and have that motivation.
Do you feel you have the best practices as if you look at other jurisdictions?
Yes, well, what we've been able to put in is, yes, we are leapfrogging and we're taking on the best practices and the best technology. Now for Nairobi registry, you can do your searches online, and all the 4 registries that we have already put online, other than Nairobi, we have completed 3 more, which means 8 registries you'd be able to do your searches online and pay your land rent online. We would be moving all our services to Huduma centers and also to online services. And it has to be reliable, real-time information, which you can check from the comfort of wherever you're sitting. And secondly, on title security, you see there are a lot of counterfeits moving around out there. And it's very difficult to tell, even for us sometimes, a counterfeit from a real document. So our new digitized title deeds, they have security features, and they also have barcoding and QR coding.
All right.
To the extent that if you scan the QR code, the details will appear on your phone of the owner and all the other details as well.
Okay.
And then you can also do your search online and pay by M-Pesa and by other services.
All right.
We're going to get very robust and aggressive about talking about this when we conclude them.
Okay.
And finally, it'll be interconnectivity between the 13 registries.
All right.
And in the area of business reengineering, we found that there were about registration of a title deed takes too long, and that affects production in business.
Yeah, totally
So,
understand. Yeah.
Yes, so that we are narrowing down
Okay. Okay.
to only about 4 steps and one-stop centers.
All right.
Yes.
Interesting. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but we'll definitely make time to host you again in the coming days. Of course, land is an emotive issue. You cannot address all the issues in one sitting. We've been speaking there to the Principal Secretary in charge of lands, that is Ms. Mariamu Elmawi, and also Abdul Kadir Halif, who is a commissioner with the National Land Commission, just discussing the land question.